Welcome to our 10th session of Unveiling the Beloved. We've been doing this once every 2 months for 20 months. Isn't that exciting? And Khabir and I are very happy to be with you on Rumi's Urs today. And I am quite certain all of you know who Rumi is. Jelaluddin Rumi, that is sometimes referred to as Mevlana, which is a term of an honorific term of respect, acknowledgement of this illuminated great being. And I believe that Rumi is probably the best known poet ever in the history of humanity around the world. And so we'll be attuning to his realization, to his absolute concentration and dissolvement in God, that he refers to often as the friend. And we'll say more about everything after we do some singing and praying and all sorts of lovely things. So we're going to start with a song that is based on, it's not exactly a, it's not exactly a poem of Rumi per se, but it is, or at least a version of it is inscribed on his tombstone that is saying, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. And it doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before. Still, and yet again, come again, come, and yet again, come." So the words are in the chat window for you, so you can sing along with us. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Come. Khabir, will you please share the invocation in German?
Dem einen entgegen, der Vollkommenheit, der Liebe, der Harmonie und der Schönheit, dem einzig Seienden, vereint mit all den erleuchteten Seelen, die den Meister, den Geist der Führung verkörpern.
Toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Amen. Beautiful friends, as part of an attunement and introduction to this illustrious, inspiring, and inspired poet, Rumi, I would like to share an excerpt from a poem by Mary Oliver. Not Rumi, Mary Oliver. So this is from a poem of hers called The Return, and I just pulled out a couple excerpts from it that will help us get a sense of this Rumi character. Are you ready? I do not want to go forward in the parade of names. I do not want to be diligent or necessary or in any way heavy. From my mouth to God's ear, I swear it, I want only to be a song. To wander around in the fields like a little reed bird, to be a song. Rumi, the poet, was a scholar also, but Shams, his friend, was an angel, by which I don't mean anything patient and sweet. When I read how he took Rumi's books and threw them into the duck pond, I shouted for joy. Time to live now, Shams meant. I see him turning away, casually toward the road, Rumi following, the books floating and sinking among the screeching ducks. Oh, beautiful book-eating pond. Here it is again, because we always have to read everything twice. 2 excerpts from the poem, The Return, by Mary Oliver. I do not want to go forward in the parade of names. I do not want to be diligent or necessary or in any way heavy. From my mouth to God's ear, I swear it, I want only to be a song, to wander around in the fields like a little reed bird, to be a song. Rumi, the poet, was a scholar also, but Shams, his friend, was an angel, by which I don't mean anything patient and sweet. When I read how he took Rumi's books and threw them into the duck pond, I shouted for joy. Time to live now, Shams meant. I see him turning away casually toward the road, Rumi following, the books floating and sinking among the screeching ducks. Oh, beautiful book-eating pond. There are variations on that story about how Shams and Rumi met. But there's always some version of Shams taking Rumi's cherished books, all of his notes and readings, all of his studies, and destroying them in some way. So, probably true. Okay, so we're going to sing another ditty that points toward this infinite, completely self-invested love. This is, of course, from a Rumi poem. This is how I would die into the love I have for you, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight. And then there's the zikr phrase of La ilaha illallah, Hu Allahu. And the two parts do work together. If you feel inclined, you can sing either one of them you wish, anytime you wish. The words are in the chat window for you. This is how I would die into the love I have for you. This is how I would die into the love I have for you, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu. This is how I would die into the love I have for you. This is how I would die into the love I have for you, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu. This is how I would die into the love I have for you. This is how I would die into the love I have for you, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. This is how I would die into the love I have for you. This is how I would die into the love I have for you, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight, as pieces of cloud dissolve in sunlight. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu, Hu Allahu. Khabir.
Thank you so much. Hello, good morning, good noon, good evening, beloved friends, all around this beautiful planet. It is so nice to see you all and to spend this special day with you. Well, at least 2 hours of this special day. All the stories that occurred to me when it comes to Rumi and Shams, it's like hardly to speak of the one and not mention the other. And it always seems to me, or seemed to me, that they were like, or are like, as we say in Germany, zwei Seiten einer Medaille, two sides of a coin. You know, there is the conscious and the unconscious. There is the lover and the beloved. There is the scholar and the mystic. There is the wisdom and the intuition. And this beautiful friendship that we know a few little things about, not too much, but maybe that's just right to know not too much about it, you know? So I found this beautiful little book here. I don't know if you can read it or see it. Yeah, that must be seeable. So, and I do want to start with that little piece here. Notice how each particle moves. Notice how everyone has just arrived here from a journey. Notice how each wants a different food. Notice how the stars vanish as the sun comes up, and how all streams stream toward the ocean. Look at the chefs preparing special plates for everyone according to what they need. Look at this cup that can hold the ocean. Look at those who see the face. Look through Shams's eyes into the water that is entirely jewels. Notice how each particle moves. Notice how everyone has just arrived here from a journey. Notice how each wants a different food. Notice how the stars vanish as the sun comes up, and how all streams stream toward the ocean. Look at the chefs preparing special plates for everyone according to what they need. Look at this cup that can hold the ocean. Look at those who see the face. Look through Shams's eyes into the water that is entirely jewels. When I was thinking, or as the storyteller that I am, and as which I'm here today, I was thinking about what story could I tell you or read to you? And I was looking up so many different stories. And at the end, I came to this one story that I have to split in two parts to tell you because it's quite long. So this is the first part of this story. Once upon a time, a few hundred years ago, in a small town in Ottoman Turkey, there lived a Hoja. If you look up the word Hoja on the internet, you will find definitions like religious teacher or scholar of Islam. Really, these days we would call a Hoja a public intellectual. The type of person the news broadcasters bring on to comment as an expert on some feature of the economy, politics, or foreign relations. Sometimes they really know more. Sometimes they only sound like they know more. But when you boil it down, they haven't said anything. In the pre-modern world, there were few job opportunities for intellectuals, so a Hoja had to find work where he or she could. In this case, our Hoja taught young boys to read the Quran in the local mosque. As was traditional, he did this by having them repeat each passage after him over and over. until they had learned the words and hopefully some of the meaning. While they did this, they would rock forward and back because it's much easier to memorize something if you move your body rhythmically, or so I am told. One day, the Hoja was teaching Surah al-Baqarah, the second and longest chapter in the Quran, a long way into the surah. Just as he was getting ready to wind up for the day, he came to a verse that goes like this. Those who spend what they have in the cause of Allah are like a grain of corn that grows 7 years, and each year yields 100 more grains. And Allah multiplies the increase to whomever Allah wills. The Hoja asked one of the youngest boys to repeat the verse for him, and he did so successfully. The Hoja breathed a satisfied sigh, then stopped short. For some reason, perhaps because he was tired, perhaps because a songbird tweeted in the distance in the same key that the boy intoned the passage, perhaps only because this is a story, our Hoja was struck by the meaning of the passage, as if he had heard it for the first time. Does that mean, he thought to himself, that if I give away everything I have in the name of Allah, I will receive back, let's see, at least 700 times that amount? The Hoja looked at the verse again. This seemed to be the plain meaning. In fact, how could it mean anything else? Class dismissed, he called out. The boys scattered and the Hoja returned home. He at once gathered all his liquid assets, which was almost everything he owned, since he lived modestly. He calculated. If he received 700 times this amount back, he would have 1,000 gold dinars, an absolute fortune. He took the money and returned to the mosque, where he gave everything to the imam for the poor. Normally, the rules of zakat or charity require that only 2.5% of one's income for the year to go to the poor. The imam tried to talk the Hoja out of giving so much. Didn't he want to save some for next year? But the Hoja was insistent. He returned home very satisfied and peered into the cupboard for something to eat for supper. What he found was a half loaf of bread, some olives, and a bit of olive oil. A little goat cheese might be nice, he thought. But then he remembered that he had nothing with which to buy it. Oh well, tomorrow I will be repaid. He sat down to dinner, and the bread, olives, and olive oil never tasted so good. When the next day rolled around, the Hoja went through the town with a spring in his step. Around every corner, he expected to meet a mysterious stranger who would offer him, in Allah's name, of course, 1,000 gold dinars. But by the time of his Quran class with the boys, there had been no such encounter. The boys noticed that their teacher seemed a bit distracted and kept looking toward the door of the mosque, as though he expected someone to walk through any moment. At the end of the class, the Hoja went home and found that only a bit more bread, a few olives, and some drops of the olive oil were left for supper. He used the rest of the bread to clean the last of the oil out of the jar. He went to bed a bit anxious, but he consoled himself with the thought that Allah was simply testing those whom he loved with the presence of his absence. The next day, the same scenario occurred. Well, you probably have guessed that. At the end of the day, the Hoxha trudged home to the last 2 olives and a few crumbs of bread that had fallen into the cracks of his table the day before. As he lay in bed, he told himself he still hoped for the best tomorrow. Inshallah. But he really expected the worst. When he awoke the next day, he decided that he needed to be more proactive. Allah was undoubtedly very busy and simply needed reminding. After all, can you imagine all the prayers the Holy One had coming in every moment from all over the world? And many of them contradicting one another, considering the multiplicity of religions? He could, of course, remind Allah inwardly in prayer, but that somehow seemed too insubstantial. He needed to make a formal petition aloud, much as one would appear before the Sultan and ask courteously for redress of a grievance. Of course, Allah was everywhere or anywhere, but the Hoxha didn't want his neighbors to overhear him seeming to complain to Allah. That wouldn't do for his reputation as a Hoxha. He decided to go outside the town walls to make his petition. But every time he stopped, someone appeared from behind a tree or around a bend in the road. He kept walking and finally found himself a great distance away from the town near an isolated grove of palm trees. Finally, he thought, just the place. Just as he was preparing himself, however, he heard an inhuman howling not too far away. The Hoxha froze. He had heard that there was a crazy dervish living in the wilderness around the town, accosting people. And I hope I pronounced that the way it should be pronounced. Accosting might be too mild a word. This dervish was actually very mad, and without consulting a psychological diagnostic manual for specifics, I can tell you that he was aggressive and probably psychopathic. He had been known to attack anyone who didn't give him some donation or whose looks he simply didn't like. The howling was coming closer and closer. The Hoxha's mind went into overdrive, as one might count the seconds between the thunderclap and lightning. That's why he was a scholar, after all. At the rate that the howling was approaching and the distance that he was from the town, the Hoxha estimated that he would be unable to reach safety before the dervish caught him. Sometimes knowing more just adds to one's despair. The Hoxha looked around and found the tallest palm tree. He climbed to the top and hid himself in the branches. Just as the dervish appeared from behind, a small rise, howling ever more loudly. As luck would have it, the dervish sat down under the same tree in which the Hoxha was hiding. Now, this is the first half of this story. And to end the story, or to concentrate the story, or what do you say? How do you call it? Put everything together of the story. Let's sing a little bit. And let me try and play the guitar to that song. See if it works. Today, like every day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open up the door to the studies and begin to read. Take down the dulcimer. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Today, like every day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open up the door to the studies and begin to read. Take down the dulcimer. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Today, like every day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open up the door to the studies and begin to read. Take down the dulcimer. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Let the beauty that we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Khabir. A poem from Rumi, translated by Khabir and Camille Helminski. Drowned in God. Damn the torrent of ecstasy when it runs in flood, so that it won't bring shame and ruin. But why should I fear ruin? Under the ruin waits a royal treasure. He that is drowned in God wishes to be more drowned. While his spirit is tossed up and down by the waves of the sea, he asks, is the bottom of the sea more delightful or the top? Is the beloved's arrow more fascinating or the shield? O heart, If you recognize any difference between joy and sorrow, these lies will tear you apart. Although your desire tastes sweet, doesn't the beloved desire you to be desireless? The life of lovers is in death. You will not win the beloved's heart unless you lose your own. Drowned in God. Dam the torrent of ecstasy when it runs in flood, so that it won't bring shame and ruin. But why should I fear ruin? Under the ruin waits a royal treasure. She that is drowned in God wishes to be more drowned. While her spirit is tossed up and down by the waves of the sea, she asks, is the bottom of the sea more delightful or the top? Is the beloved's arrow more fascinating or the shield? O heart, if you recognize any difference between joy and sorrow, these lies will tear you apart. Although your desire tastes sweet, doesn't the beloved desire you to be desireless? The life of lovers is in death. You will not win the beloved's heart unless you lose your own. I think you could boil down everything that Rumi says into two simple things, which dissolve into one simple thing. Empty of self, only love. In all of these Sufi teachings, practices, perspectives, understandings, ways of experiencing the world and relating to our own confusing human selves, everything is about fana and baqa. That is, the falling away and what remains. And the falling away is always the sense of self, always the nafs, always the ego, always the self-cherishing, always the delusions. And what remains is always the love, the beloved, God. That reminds me of one of the quatrains that I should share with you before we sing the next thing. Not that one. I marked about a dozen of these for you. Not that one. Nope. Don't worry, I'll find it. Not that one. Was it one of the quatrains? It might be in the other book I brought for you. Oh, they're all so good though. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we'll have time to read all of them, but we want to. Are y'all feeling patient about this? Oh, Sára, looking for stuff. Wasn't one of those. Back to this book. Oh, it's the Rumi collection. They all say the same thing, I'm telling you. Ah, here it is. I found it. Are you ready? This is from the Masnavi. Know the mirror of the heart is infinite. Either the understanding falls silent, or it leads you astray. because the heart is with God, or indeed, the heart is God. Here it is again. Know the mirror of the heart is infinite. Either the understanding falls silent, or it leads you astray. Because the heart is with God, or indeed, the heart is God. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah is the very beginningness. That's even before we can say Bismillah. We say Astaghfirullah. That is emptying, that is clearing out the rust and dust and illusions and attachments and all of our, here's the new thing, all of our shortcomings and our long comings and our middle comings. That is clearing out all of the comings until there is only the pure essence of God. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. So this one, this melody includes a set of movements that we're not going to do all of right now. I don't know, maybe we will do all of them right now, but I would like to describe them to you because there's an attunement to the sama that is the practice, the ceremony of the whirling dervish, which is really a funeral practice that is completely dissolving the self and letting go of intentionally, on purpose, all of our attachments and associations on this earthly plane. And the beginning of the sama practice, of really any practice, is to start with a whole-bodied attunement to God with the arms folded over the heart. And you can do it in whatever way you want. I don't believe that God is particular about which arm is on top or underneath. And also having the right big toe covering the left big toe, which I'm doing over here. Rahima's doing over here too. And I want to show you how we're doing it because we have Georgiana on here, and I'm wearing rainbow socks. So you're welcome. So right toe covering left toe. Did you see them? Look, rainbow socks. So big right toe covering the big left toe. Why? Why do we do that? It's so beautiful. There's this sweet, sweet story about Rumi, and it's really about Rumi's cook that I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of the cook, but I should have looked that up ahead of time. And the story is that Rumi's cook is tending the fire and preparing a meal and is nudging the flame. I'm showing you with my toes, but I'm not showing you my toes, but I'm actually doing it. Well, I'm poking my toes toward the fire to keep the fire stoked. And some stories say that it's just moving the logs on the fire with the toe, and that by doing that, the toe gets scorched in the fire. And then when there are also some more disturbing stories that the cook is actually feeding the fire with the toe because he's run out of firewood. I don't like that story so well. I think he's just nudging the logs with his toe. He burns the toe, or the slipper, the shoe of that left toe. And then when he has this beautiful meal all prepared and ready to deliver it to his beloved master, then he is ashamed because now there's a flaw. Now there's a scorched, ugly mark on the toe. And so while he's presenting the offering of this beautiful meal to his beloved master, he has to cover the flaw. And so the right toe covers the left toe as a symbolic gesture of wanting to bring our most perfect self, wanting to be as polished and exquisite as possible for our beloved. So that's where we begin with this Sama practice, with the arms folded, the right toe over the left toe. The head is inclined just a little bit to the left, so we're aiming toward our own heart. And sometimes it's said that we're doing this so that we can speak our prayers directly into the heart, but sometimes it's said that it's so that we can listen to the heart, because we're inclining our ear toward our heart. So whatever way you want to do that is beautiful. And so there's the beginning point of humility, emptiness of self, and attunement only to God. And then the ceremony of the Sama begins with a dirge step, that is the ceremonial walking step where we step on one foot and then close, and then step forward on the other foot and close, step forward on the other foot and close. So you can think about it like the bridal walk. That's our Western American version, is the bride's procession. We go dun, 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 with your rainbow colored sock feet. And so for the first part of the melody is doing that walking step, one foot and then the other, which we can do just rocking back and forth gently in our seats if you wish. Or you could get up and walk it if you want. And then when we sing the higher melody of Astaghfirullah, the first time through is a turn to the left. The traditional dervish turn always starts to the left. That is the direction of the heart, the direction of receptivity, of being willing and ready, empty of self, so that we can be attuned to the living presence of God. So first turning to the left and keeping the arms folded. Second time through, step and close, or rocking side to side. And then when we turn to the left the second time, just one arm opens and then comes back closed again. And it's like we're just practicing opening our wings, just practicing, seeing what it feels like to try stretching open again and again. Just one arm. It doesn't matter which arm. There you go. And then the third time through, doing that step and close or rocking side to side. And then the turn to the left includes the opening of the entire heart with both arms. And the traditional gesture is that the right hand is palm up and the left hand is palm down. And it doesn't matter how high or low your hands are, that you can have that sense. And the indication is that we're receiving the light, the blessings, the presence of God through our outstretched right hand. And it comes through our hearts, and then we deliver it to the earth plane with our left hand palm down while we're turning to the left. So there's a little intro. Back to Astaghfirullah. Are you ready? I think Rahim will probably do the gestures while I hold the guitar. Astaghfirullah, 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 Astaghfirullah. Turning, keeping the arms folded. Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. all the way up. Back over the heart, bowing into the heart again. Khabir.
So let the clock do her job. Oh, I just could walk on and on and on forever. Thank you so much. Hi to everybody who is now with us. And somebody, hi Wakil and Silika Nuri coming in. Who's coming in later? I think Ellen. Hi to everybody. I was dead, then alive, weeping, then laughing. The power of love came into me, and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star. He said, "You're not mad enough. You don't belong in this house." I went wild and had to be tied up. He said, "Still not wild enough to stay with us." I broke through another layer into joyfulness. He said, "It's not enough." I died. He said, "You're a clever little man, full of fantasy and doubting." I plucked out my feathers and became a fool. He said, "Now you're the candle for this assembly." But I'm no candle. Look, I'm scattered smoke. He said, "You are the sheikh, the guide. But I'm not a teacher. I have no power." He said, "You already have wings. I cannot give you wings." But I wanted his wings. I felt like some flightless chicken. Then new events said to me, don't move. A sublime generosity is coming toward you. An old love said, stay with me. I said, I will. You are the fountain of the sun's light. I am a willow shadow on the ground. You make my raggedness silky. The soul at dawn is like darkened water that slowly begins to say, thank you, thank you. Then at sunset again, Venus gradually changes into the moon and then the whole night sky. This comes of smiling back at your smile. The chess master says nothing other than moving the silent chess piece. That I am part of the ploys of this game makes me amazingly happy. Because we do read it twice. I was dead then alive, weeping then laughing. The power of love came into me and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star. He said, you're not mad enough. You don't belong in this house. I went wild and had to be tied up. He said, still not wild enough to stay with us. I broke through another layer into joyfulness. He said, it's not enough. I died. He said, you're a clever little man full of fantasy and doubting. I plucked out my feathers and became a fool. He said, now you're the candle for this assembly. But I'm no candle. Look, I'm scattered smoke. He said, you are the sheikh, the guide. But I'm not a teacher. I have no power. He said, you already have wings. I cannot give you wings. But I wanted his wings. I felt like some flightless chicken. Then new events said to me, don't move. A sublime generosity is coming toward you. And old love said, stay with me. I said, I will. You are the fountain of the sun's light. I am a willow shadow on the ground. You make my wretchedness silky. The soul at dawn is like darkened water that slowly begins to say, thank you, thank you. Then at sunset again, Venus gradually changes into the moon and then the whole night sky. This comes of smiling back at your smile. The chess master says nothing other than moving the silent chess piece. That I am part of the ploys of this game makes me amazingly happy. So let's go on with that other teacher. The second part of this story. Who's the chess master? Well, let's see. The Hodja is still hiding in that tree, you remember, when the dervish appeared. The mad dervish seemed to be in some sort of frenzy, shaking his long matted hair, muttering to himself and rummaging loudly in the small shoulder bag he carried. The Hodja peered out from behind some branches and tried to hear what he was saying. The dervish let out a blood-curdling shout. That's it. I've had enough. No one can help you now, he said. He pulled a large curved knife out of his bag and began sharpening it on a whetstone he found in the bag. The Hodja's teeth chattered as he heard the sound, imagining the knife sinking into his flesh. But the dervish had something else in his fevered brain. He took what appeared to be a small amulet from his bag and began to speak to it. You, Prophet Job, they say you were the most patient man alive, yet when God tested you, you cursed God. Even worse, you made people believe there was a reward in the afterlife if they suffered patiently here. Rubbish! For these sins, no one has punished you. I will punish you. Placing the amulet on the earth, he stabbed it with the knife, breaking it into many pieces. Next, he took another amulet out of the bag and looked at it with even more contempt. Hey, you, King David. You sang beautiful songs that encouraged people to lead righteous lives, but you slept with someone else's wife and killed her husband. So there was one standard for you and one for everyone else. For misleading everyone and abusing your power, no one has punished you. So now I will punish you by taking off your head. The dervish raised the knife and smashed the second amulet. The procedure was repeated with an amulet representing King Solomon. You, Solomon, you were even more wealthy, had all of the advantages, and even could speak to the jinn, the ones we call genies, and command them to do whatever you wanted with your magic ring. Yet you did many foolish things. In the end, your kingdom collapsed, people suffered, and you brought more misery into the world. No one has yet punished you, so I'll do it. The amulet flew apart, one piece almost hitting the petrified Hodja in the branch above. Next came Jesus, who, despite his humble background, did not escape the Hodja's insane anger. Jesus, they call you breath of Allah. You preached peace and lived a righteous life. But after you, those who followed you created all sorts of chaos and suffering, all in your name. Couldn't you have prevented it if you really were the Son of God? You were a great prophet, okay, but the misery you eventually caused must be punished. No one has done it, so it's up to me. The dervish plunged the knife into the Jesus amulet and twisted it with glee. You can already see a trend here, I'm sure. It should serve as a testament to the dervish's actual clinical madness that the next amulet he pulled from his bag held an image of the Prophet Muhammad. Images of the Prophet are forbidden, as I'm sure you know, since one should not confuse any human being or any human being's mistakes with the reality behind the cosmos, which is beyond any scripture or religion. All right, Prophet Muhammad, let's look at this objectively, said the dervish, shaking his head in a less than objective frenzy, his eyes wild. I have killed Job, David, Solomon, and Jesus. What shall I do with you? Yes, you brought a message of unity, saying you made no distinction between any of the prophets. But the rivers ran red with blood, first with that of your own followers fighting each other, and then with the devotees of other faiths. What kind of unity is that? No one has punished you, so reluctantly, I have to do it. The dervish stabbed the amulet repeatedly until all pieces had disappeared into soil. Enough is enough, you might think. But no, there was one more. The dervish, with still some remembrance of sanity, prostrated himself on the earth and then took one more amulet out of his bag. O Allah, I have punished Job, David, Solomon, Jesus, and Muhammad, but you sent these men, giving them visions or whatever, inspiring them to do whatever they did. And look where we are. What can I say? Meaning, no disrespect, but how can I punish them and not you? You have to go too. Raising his knife, the dervish inhaled a great gulp of air and prepared to destroy the image of Allah, whatever that might have been. Wait, yelled out the Hoja above him. You can't do that. Allah still owes me 1,000 gold dinars. The dervish swayed, his eyes rolled up, and he collapsed onto the ground. Appalled at what he'd done without thinking, the Hoja was petrified and thought his last hour had come. He stayed motionless, watching the form below him. The dervish didn't move. After a half hour, the dervish still had not moved. The Hoja broke off a small piece of branch from the palm tree and threw it at the dervish. He still didn't move. Next, he threw one of his shoes down at him. Nothing. Finally, he climbed down and put his ear to the dervish's heart. He was dead. All right? The Hoja did not feel any compunction about the death. After all, the dervish was mad and was committing sacrilege. He had been a danger to everyone for a while. At least I won't starve tonight, thought the Hoja. I'll sell his clothes and bag and buy some bread. As he removed the dervish's belt, he found it to be quite heavy. Opening it, he found it was full of gold. Counting the money, the Hoja found that it was exactly 1,000 gold dinars. Well, Allah, said the Hoja, looking up in exasperation, you finally kept your promise. But I had to save your life before you did it. So this is the end of this story, which you can find in this little book here. Our beloved friend Neil Douglas Klotz, Sheikh Sadi, the Sufi, the little book of Sufi stories. Now, let's chant a little. Let's see. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love beyond ideas of right and wrong. There is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love be what we dare. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love be what we dare. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love be what we dare. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love be what we dare. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, I meet you there, and we will let the beauty we love be what we dare. Thank you, Sára.
Oh my gosh, Khabir, you know what? I like my name so much better when you say it. Maybe you could just say it all the time. I'm just kidding. But you know what? There was one of these, it wasn't one of these Zooms, but a Zoom retreat that I co-led with my teacher, Ramat, who I love. And when he would say my name, I was like, oh my gosh, my name sounds so nice. And I asked him to go around and say everybody's name so they could get that nice feeling. And Khabir, I bet everybody would have the same sweet feeling from you saying their names. I'm not going to ask you to do that right now, but it's a lovely idea. Y'all can just imagine your name on Khabir's voice and just feel a little more happiness and goodness in your world. Okay, friends. Here's another. You're not tired of Rumi poems yet, are you? No. All right. So this is one called A Thief in the Night that was translated by Peter Lamborn Wilson. Suddenly, yet somehow expected, he arrived, the guest, the heart trembling, who's there? And soul responding, the moon. Came into the house, and we lunatics ran into the street, stared up, looking for the moon. Then, inside the house, he cried out, here I am. And we, beyond earshot, running around, calling him, crying for the drunken nightingale, locked lamenting in our garden, while we, mourning ring doves, murmured, "Where? Where?" As if at midnight, the sleepers bolt upright in their beds, hearing a thief break into the house in the darkness. They stumble about, crying, "Help! A thief! A thief!" But the burglar himself mingles in the confusion, echoing their cries, "A thief!" Till one cry melts with the others. And he is with you in your search when you seek him. Look for him in your looking, closer to you than yourself, to yourself. Why run outside? Melt like snow. Wash yourself with yourself, urged by love. Tongues sprout from the soul like stamens from the lily. But learn this custom from the flower. Silence your tongue. Here it is again. A thief in the night. Suddenly, yet somehow expected, he arrived, the guest, the heart trembling, "Who's there?" And soul responding, "The moon." Came into the house, and we, lunatics, ran into the street, stared up, looking for the moon. Then, inside the house, he cried out, "Here I am!" And we, beyond earshot, running around, calling him, crying for the drunken nightingale, locked, lamenting in our garden, while we, mourning ring doves, murmured, "Where? Where?" As if at midnight, the sleepers bolt upright in their beds, hearing a thief break into the house in the darkness. They stumble about, crying, "Help! A thief! A thief!" But the burglar himself mingles in the confusion, echoing their cries, "A thief!" Till one cry melts with the others. And he is with you in your search. When you seek him, look for him in your looking, closer to you than yourself, to yourself. Why run outside? Melt like snow. Wash yourself with yourself, urged by love. Tongues sprout from the soul like stamens from the lily. But learn this custom from the flower. Silence your tongue. I think Uta is showing us the full moon. Which is awesome, because you know what? That means that the moon just came into my house. Thank you, Uta, for bringing the moon into all of our houses. Or offices, for those of you who are so fortunate to be stuck at work today. Okay, friends. So, we're going to visit another beautiful song that is not words of Rumi, but they could have been. So this is inspired by all sorts of things, but put into an organized form for our enjoyment by our friend Salim, who is tuning in from his place of work today. Did it go in there? Yes, there we go. So in English first we'll sing, "Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. let me love. Let me love. We'll sing that a couple of times, and then we're doing only the first half of the zikr phrase. La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha. That's only focusing on the negation on purpose. That I don't recommend this as a lifestyle choice, but I do recommend it as a spiritual practice choice. That we are really striving to overcome our selfness and to allow for our infinite divineness to arise and to consume all of our awareness, all of our senses. So eventually we're probably just going to settle into that half of the zikr phrase, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha. And I don't need to say anything else about it. Better to sing than to talk. Silence your tongue. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. La ilaha, 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 la so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. La ilaha, la ilaha. heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. La, ilaha, 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 la, Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. Beloved, open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love. La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la Open my heart so I can hear your voice. Sweep it clean of the rust and dust. Let me love. Let me love.
Let's all just sit a moment and breathe. What rises in my heart is Il Allah, Il Allah, Il Allah, Il Allah. Let me love. Let me love. You that love lovers, this is your home. Welcome. In the midst of making form, love made this form that melts form, with love for the door and soul, the vestibule. Watch the dust grains moving in the light near the window. Their dance is our dance. We rarely hear the inward music, but we're all dancing to it nevertheless. Directed by Shams, the pure joy of the sun, our music master. You that love lovers, this is your home. Welcome. In the midst of making form, love made this form that melts form, with love for the door and soul, the vestibule. Watch the dust grains moving in the light near the window. Their dance is our dance. We rarely hear the inward music, but we're all dancing to it nevertheless. Directed by Shams, the pure joy of the sun, our music master. Somehow the universe brings it all together. And somehow the universe makes things just as they should be. Hi, Neela. Welcome. So I was writing to Sára like just half an hour before we started this Zoom session, going like, I have to rearrange everything that I'm doing. I don't know why this was, but here it just fits perfectly because this little story came up to my mind. It's a story of a young boy in a Far East country, and his parents sent him off to the market in the next bigger town. And they said, here is our goat, take it with you so you can change the goat into something else that we need. And he was heading off with the goat on a leash. When he was leaving the yard, his father shouted, well, you maybe take that copper pot with you. Well, it was not a small pot. It was like one of these big, big copper pots. We don't need it anymore, but you can take it to the market, trade it, and we will see what you get. Now he had this copper pot on his back and the goat on a leash and his hiking stick in his hand. And he was to leave the yard when his mom shouted, well, you know what, take that one chicken with you. Maybe you can trade it also, and we'll see what comes around. So he has that chicken under his arm and the goat on a leash and the stick for his hiking in the one hand and that copper pot on his back. And this was how he was like taking off to the city. In another village, there was a young girl, and she also headed off to the city. She wanted to buy a new headscarf. So, well, as you know, paths meet. So this two paths of these two young people met quite away from the town, but you know how it is. When one meets another, you decide to walk together because it's not that lonely anymore. So the two chatted and chatted. And before they arrived at that city where they both wanted to go to, they came to a canyon. And the girl said, well, I cannot go with you into this canyon. And the young man said, well, why shouldn't you go with me into that canyon? And she said, well, the canyon hides us from the outside and you could try to kiss me. And he said, well, how should I try to kiss you? I mean, look at me. I have this copper pot on my back. I have a chicken under my one arm, and there is this leash with the goat and the other hand, and there is this hiking stick I have. How should I have a hand free to hug you and kiss you? And she looked at him and she said, well, you know what? You could like put the chicken down on the earth and cover it with that copper pot. Then you can put the stick into the earth and you could wrap the leash of the goat around it. And then you could have your hands free and you could kiss me. So this young boy looked up into the sky and said, oh, Allah, I'm so grateful for you sending me this smart, clever woman. And then the two went into the canyon. What happened inside there, only the eyes of the one saw. Ishkala mabud lela, ishkala mabud lela, ishkala mabud lela. Ishkala mabulela Allah ya Jamil Allah ya Jamil Allah ya Jamil Allah Allah. Ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela, ishkala mabulela. Allah ya Jamil. Allah ya Jamil, Allah ya Jamil, Allah, Allah. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. Ishq Allah ma'bud lillah. Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah. Allah ya Jamil. Allah ya Jamil. Allah ya Jamil. Allah. Amen. Thank you, Sára.
Thank you, Khabir. Here's the shortest, I don't know if it's the shortest, it's a very short Rumi poem, also translated by Khabir and Camille Helminski. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of one who sees. Here it is again. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of one who sees. So on a gently irreverent note, I would like to tell you about a little interaction I had with Tim this morning. Tim is my husband, and this is Rahima. This is my wife. And Tim and I were talking this morning, and he was talking about not sleeping very well. And I said, well, that's a Rumi poem that says something like, now here's the actual poem. I wasn't sure if I had it exactly in the kitchen this morning, but here it is. When I am with you, we stay up all night. When you're not here, I can't go to sleep. Praise God for these two insomnias and the difference between them. When I am with you, we stay up all night. When you're not here, I can't go to sleep. Praise God for these two insomnias and the difference between them. Which, of course, reminded me of a ditty by a ridiculous jam band named Fish that says, when you're gone, I sleep diagonal in my bed. When you're there, I sleep lengthwise. And when you're gone, I sleep diagonal in my bed. When you're there, I sleep lengthwise. That's the whole thing, but they sing it over and over and over again. Would you like to sing it with me? And when you're gone, I sleep diagonal in my bed. When you're there, I sleep lengthwise. And when you're gone, I sleep diagonal in my bed. When you're there, I sleep lengthwise. And we just got Rahima to sing Fish. She does not like that band at all. And it's recorded. Okay, friends, we are almost out of time. We have 5 more minutes for our unveiling, and then we'll go directly into our usual daily noon prayer Zoom. You're welcome to stay for an additional 15 minutes if you're able and willing. Oh, good golly. And in the meantime, I'm always pushing the buttons on my watch when I'm not trying to. I'm going to, if I can find it again, I can do it. I have faith in myself. I can do it. I'm putting the link in the chat window again for you to be able to send appreciations to me and Khabir, if you wish. If you have a good time, if you've been enjoying yourself, and if you just think we're adorable and want to support us, there you go. And we are going to sing one more ditty with some Rumi poem woven into it, and also some zikr. And this one comes from these quatrains, that is, Whispers of the Beloved, that are, the quatrains are 4-line poems, so very short poems, and translated by Mariam Mafi and Azima Melita Colin. And this one says, prayers clear the mist and bring back peace to the soul. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, La ilaha illallah. There is no reality but God. Prayers clear the mist and bring back peace to the soul. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, La ilaha illallah. We only have about 2 minutes to do this. We gotta make it good. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, Allah, Allah. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, Allah. Every morning, every evening, let the heart sing, Allah, Thank you, Khabir.